Get back in control with Off the Wagon, adventures in emotional eating, health, and weight loss. Each episode containing fork-sized mindset tweaks, perspective shifts, and lifestyle hacks to get you back on the wagon. Whether it's habit change, emotional eating, addictions, weight loss, willpower, or relationships, there's something here for you. So let's get on the wagon and get down the road to your goals with me, Christy R. Hall. Welcome to episode 51, where today I want to spend a little time with you talking about some of the external ways that you can support yourself on your emotional eating journey. When I say external, specifically what I'll be going over today are some nutritional supplements and possible deficiencies to look at, but also some alternative and complementary therapies for emotional eating. And I want to say in advance and up front, I am not a doctor. And if you decide to consider some of these supplements and, vitamins or anything like that, do make sure and check with your primary care physician and make sure that that's an okay and right thing for you. So let's just dive right in. Most of the time when we've been talking about emotional eating, we've been coming at it from the perspective that it's an emotion or a trigger-based behavior problem. We see, hear, feel, or even think something that upsets us, and we use our default coping mechanisms, in this case, eating food, to make us feel better. And when we identify that that is our default mode for going through life, we decide, man, I want to change that. So we start trying to take better care of ourselves. And I don't mean working out or eating right, although that could be part of it. We try to get present and mindful about our eating. We try to build self-care practices. And we try yoga or meditation in an attempt to de-stress. We may try journaling to offload some of the emotions that we have and see if we can work through them in a non-threatening, safe place that doesn't cost us $200 an hour and make us miss work. We try to look at our situations from other people's perspectives and see if there's another way to look at it. We do the best that we can to remember that it's not really about us, and then try not to take it all so personally. We even try gentle confrontation when we can to help other people see when they're violating our boundaries. But most of all, we try to stop disliking or even hating ourselves. We try to work with that little voice inside us that sometimes says mean things and other times says eat cake. In a nutshell, we try to develop compassion for ourselves and for everyone else we have to share the world with. But that's a lot of work, and it can take a lot of time. And meanwhile, we may still be craving like mad men or mad women, falling off the wagon and having food episodes that we're labeling as emotional eating, even though we struggle to find that root cause or triggering event. Because the truth is that not all cravings are emotionally driven, and not all urges to eat are emotionally driven. It may seem counterintuitive to look at food and nutritional options for emotional eating. After all, emotional eating very often leads us to eat too much food, not too little. But the fact is, when you overeat in response to a trigger, you may not be eating the healthiest foods, and you may not be present to what you're experiencing in your body. As a result, you may eat too much and create a burden for your body, or eat things that don't agree with you, or even things that aren't in alignment with your health and wellness goals. When you fill up with junk food, there's little room for anything else. And some restrictive diets, binge eating, or overeating may create deficiencies. Now, the jury is out, research-wise, on whether being deficient in magnesium will make you crave chocolate, or being deficient in calcium will make you crave ice cream. In fact, there is research to suggest that these commonly held beliefs are little more than internet fodder and justifications to indulge in said cravings. But I don't want to get off topic here, so we'll stay on topic by simply saying that generally, deficiencies don't make you crave certain specific foods. They may, however, have an impact on your emotional or mental or even physical well-being that you may attempt to rectify by eating more and sometimes unhelpful food. Here are some vitamins and minerals that, according to research, may be useful in the management and mastery of emotional eating. Vitamin D. Being deficient in vitamin D has been linked with low mood and poor brain performance. And it may be the cause for certain depressive disorders, such as SAD or seasonal affective disorder. Research has shown that a connection exists between these depressive states and vitamin D because vitamin D influences the release of dopamine and serotonin, two of your feel-good neurotransmitters. And if you're low in vitamin D, you may be 11 times more likely to experience depression. But maybe you're not feeling depressed. Well, low levels of vitamin D have also been associated with anxiety. How this may affect your eating is that if you're feeling that depressed or down in the dumps slump, you may eat lots of carbs or sugar to get the serotonin or dopamine boost that you're looking for. And the same thing goes for anxiety. So foods that are high in vitamin D include fish like salmon, trout, swordfish, tuna, and cod liver oil, liver, pork, and eggs. Now, I'm not including milk products as good sources because most of the time they're fortified with vitamin D2. D2 is harder for the body to use and absorb and may not lead to an overall increase in your vitamin D levels. If you choose to supplement, be sure to get one that is D3 or cholecalciferol and do not go over the recommended maximums of 4,000 IUs per day for adults. That's not a recommended dosage, but just the maximum. Also remember that vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so sources with healthy fats, such as fish, may be absorbed better by the body. So your B complex or B vitamins play an important role in how you manage stress, and low levels have been associated and linked to feelings of overwhelm, depression, mental challenges, and even paranoia. Specifically, B6 is associated with the production of neurotransmitters, which again are those chemical messengers that travel around your brain, and being low in them can cause fatigue, mental confusion, and depression. Low levels of B12 are associated with feelings of fatigue and impaired reasoning ability, that whole can't think straight feeling. These feelings of fatigue and brain fog may lead you to eat in an attempt to try and fix them. So these important vitamins, they help increase energy levels and help you manage your water retention, which I know for you ladies is a big deal, right? Because those pounds, that water weight, can kill you. So, good sources of B vitamins include avocados, eggs, dark leafy greens like kale, spinach, Swiss chard, arugula, and mustard greens, wild fish or salmon, and beans and legumes. One quick note about the Bs and the MTHFR gene. If you have impaired methylation pathways, otherwise known as the MFTHR gene, then most B complex vitamins won't be that beneficial to you. When we take a B vitamin supplement, our bodies must convert the vitamins into forms we can use. If you have the MFTHR gene, your body doesn't do this very well. So you may find that a pre-methylated version of the B vitamins works better for you. And it will say that on the label and in the ingredients list. So the next one is magnesium, which is technically not a vitamin, it's mineral, but it's often overlooked and very underrated, and it plays a major role in so many of your body's functions, including turning your food into energy, but it's also associated with the manufacturing of serotonin. A deficiency in this mineral could leave you with a case of insomnia, which we all know how sleepless nights can lead to overeating in the day, fatigue, anxiety, insulin resistance, and sugar cravings. Foods considered magnesium rich include cooked greens. For example, 1 cup of spinach or beet greens, for example, has 100 milligrams or more of magnesium. Nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds, cashews, Brazil nuts, and almonds rank high at 60 milligrams or more per serving. Beans, and in this category I'm going to include peanuts because they are a legume. 1 ounce of peanuts has 50 milligrams. A cup of black beans has 120. Whole grains, 1 cup of cooked bulgur has 58 milligrams, while a cup of brown rice has 84 milligrams. I'm not including chocolate here because while chocolate has a good amount of magnesium, 64 milligrams per serving, that magnesium comes with sugar and some preservatives and other fillers that may somewhat negate the health benefit of the magnesium. The mineral that goes hand in hand with magnesium is calcium. Low calcium levels are often seen in people with eating disorders as well as depression and anxiety. Calcium can help fight the stress hormone cortisol because it has a calm and relaxing state. But while dairy is the most commonly cited source of calcium, depending on the form, and here I mean like skim milk or full-fat milk or yogurt, how much calcium you get from your dairy choice may vary. Calcium needs fat along with it to be utilized by the body. Additionally, there are lots of non-dairy food sources of calcium, but your rate of absorption will be lower because the bioavailability of calcium in plant foods is limited by oxalates and phytates. Personally, I try to get a good mix of both dairy and plant sources. That said, here are some dairy and non-dairy options for calcium. Like I said, full-fat dairy. Greens like collards, turnip, mustard greens, bok choy, and kale. Beans, which I know is really surprising, but that includes tofu, which is bean curd, edamame, navy, or pinto beans. They're all very high in calcium. Nuts and seeds like almonds and sesame seeds are also very high in calcium. And just a note, if you're planning to use supplements instead of taking the whole foods route, calcium and magnesium are often packaged into pill form together. What I find interesting is that when these minerals occur naturally in food, there's usually a higher proportion of magnesium to calcium, whereas supplements generally have more calcium than magnesium. So that's just something to keep in mind. Along with magnesium and calcium, there's zinc. And zinc has been shown to have a profound effect on appetite and cravings. And many people with eating disorders are deficient in this mineral, as are folks with depression. Being under a lot of stress can very quickly deplete your zinc levels. And since the body has no way of storing zinc, it's important to get it on a fairly regular basis. Zinc, like magnesium, plays a role all over your body, but it's super important to your brain. And in fact, the highest concentrations in your body are there. Interestingly, there's a direct link between zinc and depression. And in fact, the more depressed someone is, the lower their zinc levels. So zinc is found in the following foods: shellfish, especially oysters and crab, beef, particularly beef shanks, pork, chicken, and garbanzo beans. Next, I want to talk about chromium. Low chromium levels are associated, again, with depression, but also carb cravings. It's important for the proper working of insulin and the management of hunger and how well you handle the glucose you eat. Deficiencies are associated with diabetes and insulin resistance. Foods that are high in chromium include broccoli, barley, oats, green beans, tomatoes, and romaine lettuce. It's important to note that research shows that dietary chromium is poorly absorbed. And considering that chromium levels decrease with age, it might be worth considering a chromium picolinate supplement. The next one I want to cover is not really a vitamin or a mineral, but is the omega-3 fatty acids. And the omega-3 fatty acids are found primarily in fish or fish oil, but they can be created in the body from flax oil if you don't have that genetic trait that prevents that conversion. But low levels of omega-3 have been associated with depression, and higher levels seem to protect against depression. Several studies have found that taking essential fatty acid supplements can reduce depression-type symptoms as well as suicidal thinking. High sources of omega-3s include, obviously, mackerel, salmon, herring, oysters, sardines, and anchovies. If you're looking for a non-fish source, go for flax seeds, chia seeds, or walnuts. As you can see, having the right balance of vitamins, minerals, and essential fatty acids may affect emotional eating. I think it's important to opt for fresh, whole foods as a general rule over artificial, processed, and prepackaged foods. And if necessary, consider supplementation for the things that you may be deficient in. Now, these next things I want to talk about, while they're not vitamins or minerals, I do want to briefly mention a few herbs that may be helpful. And again, make sure and check with your doctor or a naturopath or an herbalist or a functional medicine doctor, before you go out and purchase a bottle of supplements and start just taking them. But Vitex is a hormone balancing herb that women can use to help manage cravings and overeating caused by monthly hormonal fluctuations and PMS. Curcumin, or turmeric, actually imitates the antidepressant qualities of certain name brand drugs like Prozac and Tofranil without the side effects. Gymnema sylvestri delays glucose absorption in the blood, and it can help curb sugar cravings by filling in the receptor locations of sweet taste buds. And so those are just 3 herbs that you may find helpful on your journey. So if you're looking for other external sources of support that include other people or other mind-body therapies, here are a few that you might consider to aid you on your path. Because it is said that emotional eating begins in the mind, hypnosis can be effective because it addresses the mind directly with the power of suggestion. Hypnosis is not mumbo-jumbo stuff of cartoons with swirling black and white vortexes or swinging pocket watches. It's a clinical practice, and I've used it successfully with clients to treat emotional eating. The intent of meditation as a treatment for emotional eating is to tune in to the emotional thought center that's driving your cravings and or binge or emotional eating. Meditation is sometimes called mindfulness and is the opposite of mindlessness, which is what often happens with emotional eating. The person doesn't really think about what he or she is doing, and before they know it, devours a bag of chips or a sleeve of Oreos or a gallon of ice cream. Now, I have a friend who's an acupuncturist, and she's said that she's often asked whether acupuncture can help with weight loss. And the answer is, she told me, yes, but not always. The good news is that acupuncture tends to be more successful with treating emotional eating rather than just overeating. This may be due to acupuncture's ability to release endorphins and boost metabolism, making clients feel better emotionally, which effectively would curb the need to eat emotionally. Other external sources of support might include talking to friends and family about your food issues and ask for their support. You can detail out for them what your level of support looks like so that there's no ambiguous areas and no crossover communication. I mean, if you need tough love, then ask for it. But if that's what they're providing and it's not what you need, be sure to tell them that too. You might also consider working with a therapist who can meet with you on a regular basis to help you understand your emotional eating behaviors as well as provide skills and a safe learning environment to practice them. You could also look for support groups, both online and in person. These are helpful because you'll realize that you're not alone, and you're very likely to learn a lot as you learn through other people's experience while helping others learn as they walk with you through yours. You'll meet people who are going through exactly what you are, but also people who have fought the battle and won. These people can offer valuable facts and tips and tricks that will help you move forward, but also help you receive the help and support that you need. Like I said at the beginning, we don't always eat in response to an emotion, just like we don't always eat in response to hunger. Not all eating is about satisfying a food or hunger craving. That's why it's so important to support yourself in all areas and facets of your life as you continue on your journey towards emotional eating mastery. Thank you so much for listening in today. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions or concerns or want to talk to me about where you might find support, complementary therapies that might help support you, or just have questions about what is working for you, what's not working for you, and how we might tweak that to make things better, I would love to hear from you. You can find me on Facebook at fb.me/Coach Christy R. Hall, or at my website, www.christyrhall.com. Thanks again for listening, and I will talk to you soon.